Hello, anyone. I don't know if anyone's actually here or not, because I didn't really do the going live soon thing that long, and no one, so I don't know if anyone's here, but welcome to this week's Horsehead Weekly for week number 9. Uh, it's again your commissioner here for another exciting installment, and not feeling great, so let's just go fast and get this over with. Um, so last week, um, Last week, I ended up falling to Mike after he put up, I believe, one of the highest point totals of the season so far. I know I literally just went over those stats last week, but I don't remember what they came out to be. Uh, so he put up 190, which is absolutely dominating. My team didn't do very well, so besides the eliminator, it didn't really matter for this game because I wasn't catching them anyways. But there were a couple other really high scores. Steve put up 177 on Jerry, who put up a lower end, maybe averagey thing. Nick ended up putting up 170 on Matt, who little Matt, who ended up he did his best. He put up a good effort, but when you're playing somebody who puts up 170, it's hard to get a win. Um, then in the two matches that were kind of foregone conclusions, a lot of people would have said. I mean, it was two 5-2s versus two teams with a combined one win. They went to chalk, as you'd expect, with Malcolm defeating Dave and Matt defeating Gabe. Matt M defeating Gabe. With Malcolm almost taking a loss. If he played against pretty much any team who wasn't one of those two bottom bottom of the barrel teams, he would have ended up getting a loss. But sometimes it's better to be lucky than good, and he was indeed lucky this week and ended up pulling out the W uh, with only 177 points, the third lowest scoring team in the league this week. So there was that. Onto the standings in Skullhouse. I remain a game ahead as everyone in my division lost last week. In Kathy's Kids, it remains incredibly tight with all those teams really looking to, still looking really good. In the Outsiders, Matt M continues to try to distance himself from Mike, who is continuing to nip at his heels. And for the Insiders, it is uh, Nick at 6-2, trying to keep away from Steve, who is trying to catch up to him, who is at 4-4. And now on to the standings. Not a ton of changes after the last week, with Malcolm's win and I think it was somebody else's loss. Was it Matt S. or I think it might have been Matt S. His loss last week. Uh, Malcolm ended up moving up to take the division as he has the tiebreaker of divisional record. So he is now up to 6-2. Um, and that moves him also into a tie with Nick and Matt M. As you know, the first tiebreaker is inside the division. So for those three, the tiebreaker basically went, well, Matt M has defeated um, Nick. Nick has defeated, um, hasn't played either of them. And then Malcolm hasn't done anything. So I think it should actually go Matt M, Malcolm, Nick. If I am correct in figuring out how our tiebreakers work. So those are backwards. So Malcolm actually is in the bye right now, but with him and Nick still to play, there's a lot to go on. And I don't think Nick or Malcolm have played Matt M yet, or I don't think Malcolm has played Matt M yet either. So Malcolm has two very tough matchups coming up soon. So if you're in his division, you're definitely licking your lips at the fact that he has to play both Nick and Matt M moving forward. In the other division, leader, it's me. I'm still there at 4-4 with the 0-2 record in the division. Given that I have evaded uh, them catching up to me last week, with both Doug and Jerry Tyler taking a loss. Um, and then in the wild cards, it's just easy. The 6-2 team is the first one. The 5-3 team is the next one. And then Steve and Mike are currently sitting at 4-4, one game out of the wild card. And if you look, you can see that the owners are now color coded. I go down and talk about Gabe and Dave M. The color you are is the best finish you could have on the season. I might have to readjust this as people clinch stuff later on, and find some kind of way to indicate that this is like where they're locked. But as of right now, it's what you're locked, what you can get. And as of right now, everybody is able to get a bye except for Gabe and Dave M. Gabe cannot win his division at all, so he is currently hoping for a wild card. And Dave M has been eliminated from the playoffs, and because of that, an incentive has been won. The first person eliminated, the finish him uh, incentive, and that goes to Malcolm for beating Dave last week. So congratulations to Malcolm, the first person to get money on the season. Um, yeah, so good job to Malcolm for putting up an absolutely garbage score from a garbage team and then beating an even more garbage team. So good job. So yeah, that's that. So Dave not out of it yet entirely. He can still win the fight for 50. He still has incentives to go for. So I mean, there's no reason for Dave to give up on the season and start making garbage trades or just throwing his hands up and walking away from the team. He can still win his money back. He just has to, I don't know, be very aggressive and hope to get a little lucky here and there. But we'll see how that goes. I was in this position last year where Dave is right now, and also where Gabe is, just the bottom of the league looking up, and just nothing I did seemed to go right. So I feel you, dude. I feel you. It gets better, dude. Moving on to the Eliminator. We had another elimination this week. It was Doug. Doug has been eliminated. Apparently, you can't only be above average twice in the season up to week 8 and be in the Eliminator still, despite, you know, somehow being able to pull off what he did. He has been eliminated and he is out, which knocks it down to 4 people. So there'll be at least one more week of 2 people getting strikes. I don't think it's going to be more than that. So this is probably the last week of that before we get to the single limbs. Unless Matt as and Nick both pick them up, in which case, I mean, sure, whatever, I guess. Um, but I was the other one to pick up a strike last week because I just didn't. I mean, I could have saved myself if I started Cam over Winston, but hey, who knew that Jameis was going to play absolutely garbage against a bad defense and then proceed to get benched at probably like halftime or something. I don't know what it was. But yeah, so I ended up getting the second strike, and because of that, I will be sitting at 2 strikes and hoping that I can just not get another strike for the rest of the eliminator to claim those $50. Because hey, it's half my buy-in, and it'd be nice to get that money back. Other than that, not a lot really crazy going on in this, so we're just gonna move on to this week and what's coming up now. And it is Steve and myself. We will be playing in a fight for what could be wild card implications moving forward. I mean, we're both at 4-4. The winner definitely has a huge leg up on the other one in the wild card race. So, especially with me being 0-2, this is a really important game to me. But as all games are in a league where you only have 13 weeks to really do anything, and when you're 4-4, you really need to make something happen. Moving on over, we have Matt S. and Sean, aka Gabe's. They will be playing, and Sean has to make a lineup. Yes, if he doesn't set a lineup, then I don't know. At this point he's struggling to keep up, but we'll see what happens with that. Um, Another important game is Mike as he continues to try to put a run together uh, towards the playoffs as he plays up against Jerry and Tyler's team, which got a couple new pieces this week. I really like where Jerry and Tyler's team's going, and it'll be interesting to see if Mike's powerhouse is able to continue doing what it does, or if it will slip up and allow Jerry and Tyler to catch up. James and Nick, that's one of the two uh, marquee matches this week. We have James, 5-3, started off really hot, and now he's been kind of slipping. Will he be able to right the ship up against Nick, or will he end up continuing his free fall down to 5-4 and potentially lose a grip on a playoff spot if myself or Steve, one of us is going to get up there to tie him, and that's not good. Um, or will he reclaim it and get the victory, move up to 6 wins, and knock Nick down to be a little bit closer to his opponents. And in the other marquee matchup, we have Matt M versus Malcolm. Both teams are very good. They both have a lot going on, and yeah, I'm really, really hoping for something cool out of this game. I believe I have it picked for my game of the week, as yeah, it's two people up in that upper echelon, and I really do think it should go to Matt M because I really don't like the way Malcolm's team looks, but hey, you never know what can happen at any point in the weeks. One person can have a bad week, the other person can have a good week. So that'll be really interesting to see how that goes. Actually, so I don't think I picked that because I don't like Malcolm's team, so I think I picked James and Nick. Anyways, and then Dave is going to continue his search for his first win of the season up against Doug's team, which like Fantasy Pros absolutely loves it. They think that he has a great team and has been doing great trades and everything over the year. I don't see it, but you know, I guess they think he's a lot better than the 5-3 record that he has. So that is what's coming up for this week, and I did eventually get there. My game of the week this week is James and Nick. Uh, I think this is going to be a very close game. It's going to be a very interesting game, and it is a game that I don't know if it has any Monday night players, but it definitely has Sunday night players, and that's going to make it a lot of fun watching, watching those teams play on Sunday night, trying to see if Tom Brady can throw up a huge number on Green Bay to put Nick over the edge, as I'm pretty sure that with Brady and Gordon as a stack, he's definitely going to be watching that game and hoping and hoping and hoping. Uh, but yeah, so that is the game of the week this week. No huge buys. There is Elshon and Jack Doyle who are out for James, and Darius Leonard and Christian Kirk for Nick. So James is forced to play Crabtree instead of Jeffrey, and Nick is forced to pick up a linebacker, but I'm not, you know, I think this definitely hurts James more than Nick, but I think it'll still be a really interesting and close game. Which brings to the rankings. As I wasn't really feeling great today and this week, I'm just going to call it the rankings and not really do anything crazy with it. I came up with words for November because it's November 1st, and the worst version of November is No Nut November. That's just dumb. That's just dumb. Uh, and we're going to start at the bottom with Dave. He continues to have the worst of the last three. He continues to be winless. Um, I mean, he has people on his team who I think could do good stuff moving forward. I mean, he has Andrew Luck, who I really like. He has Cooper, who if he can just go off in Dallas, that'll be great. I'm not a huge fan of Amari Cooper. I'm not a huge fan of the trade he made to get Amari Cooper, but you know, when you're sitting low, you kind of have to go for some lottery tickets, and Richard and Cooper both those, and I could pick worse ones. So, you know, I feel like in his position, sometimes you have to make bad trades to make good things happen, and it wasn't a terrible trade, it wasn't a fleecing, but this is where he is right now. Um, so yeah, I would, you know, this is going to be a good week for him, I think, though. He has multiple people playing against Atlanta who has a very bad defense. He has Cooper Kupp at New Orleans, so that's going to be just a track meet, run up and down the field, seeing who can put up the biggest number, and I think that's going to definitely help out Kupp a lot. Um, his defensive players are going to be fine. I mean, Jalen Richard is playing tonight, and he has Doug Martin in tonight. I mean, that's going to be a little bit on the spookier side because you have two players who, they're both playing tonight. Oh boy, that's not that's spooky, but hey, that's how it goes. Um, if Dave does end up watching this before the game starts, I'd put Adrian Peterson in your flex if you are going to start both of them. just in case something happens with Peterson and he gets held out, you can put in Cooper. But yeah, so that is Dave in 12th and 11th, following their last three rankings is Gabe's. But I'm not so sure what he's doing. He still hasn't even adjusted his lineup. I'm not sure if he picked up anybody in waivers or not. I think he might have picked up Jamie Collins, or maybe I'm misremembering. But yeah, he definitely needs to hit the waivers again because he currently doesn't have uh, a starting defensive back. He has a flex he can start, but he has to put in Lewis and Eckler for that. And his wide receiver would then be Jordy, who plays tonight. So if he doesn't get in time for that, then he's going to be, looking to drop a player to pick up a wide receiver at some point this week, which is not where you really want to be, especially when you have somebody who, can put up good numbers like Jordy can. I think you definitely want to start him over a random waiver guy this week, with San Francisco's secondary being as banged up as it is. So that's just my thoughts on Gabe's team. At number 10, we have James. He put up 133 points on average over the last 3 weeks, and he is currently in ninth for that. Um, yeah, he is the guy who had that really great team at the beginning of the year, and then I don't know if it was just he got just beat up over the last few weeks because of buys or something. I'm not entirely sure what the issue was, but he is, maybe he just has been putting the wrong guys in every week, and the good guys have been going off, and he's been stuck. I'm not entirely sure what his issue is at the moment, but you know, I think I can see it a little bit. You got Tyreek Hill and Juju both putting up bad numbers last week. Crabtree bad numbers. Kiko Alonso, who was going off all week, all season, put up a bad week last week. So I think you have a lot of good stuff going on, James. Still, um, yeah, enthusiasm is definitely what I'm just oozing with today. You're doing a lot of really good things with your team, James. I like your team. I just don't know what's gone wrong. The wheels just seem to have fallen off, and it's just really really rough. So best luck to turn this one around, James. And then nice of you to show up, Malcolm, because here you are at number 9, 125 points on average over the last 10 weeks. Somehow you managed to continue to accumulate wins. I don't know how you're doing it. You're somehow 6-2. Your team is just not putting up points. And what's worse is you're putting up, you have Marquise Goodwin in, um, and you know who's throwing him the ball tonight because it's a guy I've never heard of, Nick Mueller, Nick Muller. I don't know. Maybe he's got an uncle in the FBI or something. But whoever this dude is, he is not doing good stuff. I wouldn't trust him to be throwing the ball to Marquise Goodwin unless you were expecting him to just get like a 50-yard, touchdown on a screen pass or something. Um, so yeah, that's just really rough for Goodwin. You're also starting Devontae Parker, which as a Miami Dolphins fan, I can tell you is a mistake. But hey, maybe this is the season he finally breaks out. We've been asking for it for 4 years. Who knows? Maybe this is finally it. Um, so I did I did say last week that I would bump you up if you showed me that Chubb and Mack could be your starting 1 and 2. Um, because I liked what you had for wide receivers, and I don't know if did you make a trade or something. I'm not entirely sure what happened because I'm looking at your wide receivers now, and it's Ty and Allen Robinson who you picked up off waivers, Marquise Goodwin who I don't really like, Draquan Smith. Did you trade somebody? I'm just kind of confused. Or did somebody get hurt? I don't know. But I'm not. I just don't like your. I'm still not a big fan of your running backs because I think Matt can easily get hurt soon. Um, but as long as you have Mahomes and Kelsey, you can definitely put up good points at any given week because those two can just go off like they did last week. And if you get lucky with a couple of other guys like Mac did last week, then yeah, you can. Oh yeah, you had Geronimo who I liked. Yeah, no, he's not. He's not around anymore for you. I don't know where he went. I think you must have traded him for somebody. maybe Duke. I don't know. Anyways, so yeah, I'm just confused about the direction of your team right now, and until you start putting up big points, I really can't trust most of those people that you have on your team at the moment. I disagree. I think Cobb is the number 4 guy in Green Bay right now. But that's just me. I think Marquez Valdez Scantling is has moved himself up and he has taken over the number 3 spot with Allison at the 2, and Cobb is just kind of an afterthought who's probably going to end up getting cut. Um, but no, that's just how I feel. But yeah, so oh, I'm sorry. I get you do have direction on your team, Malcolm. Now that you do mention that I said you had no direction. It's down. That's the direction your team has. So with that, we're gonna move up to the B class, which is Brovember, which is something I completely made up for the purposes of having 4 things. I couldn't think of one, and it's a thing where you're like, hey, this is a good time. We're having a lot of fun. I'm assuming the Borquisador is Brad, but I'm not entirely sure if that's true. I'm just gonna take a guess of that. But it's where you just bro out with your bros, and that's just what you do with Brovember. That's how it works. At number 6, I somehow managed to get the snipping tool on a snip. I don't think that's even possible. All right, well maybe I just got quick hands. Yeah, at number 8 we have Steve. Steve is just in a real rough spot right now. He's got Breida at his running back too, which is not good when you don't have when their quarterback isn't C.J. Beathard, which is even worse than when their quarterback isn't Garoppolo. So he's just in a real bad spot there. I love Matt Breida, but this is just not going to end up going well for him. But he does have other things that are doing a lot better, like Mike Evans and Kenny Galladay both got big upgrades with Fitzmagic and the Tate trade, respectively. Um, you know, he's got Matt Ryan, who's eventually going to start throwing touchdowns to Julio, so that's always a good thing. So Steve's got Steve's got some good stuff going on his team, and I think Greg Olson's got a great matchups for the rest of the season. So I don't know. I like what Steve's team has. It's just the running back 2 spot, and if Diggs is out for any extended period of time, um, he doesn't really have the depth to really make it up anywhere with the backup in Buffalo and Frank Gore, who's I really don't want to rely on at this point because I'm not sure if Miami has a good offense at all anymore. I think that if they do, they're going to be doing a lot of stuff with throwing the ball, and I think that's more of Drake's realm than Gore's realm. Um, so yeah, uh, that's just my thoughts about Steve. And moving on, we have Jerry's team, and with Jerry's team, oh no, I agree, Malcolm. I think if there was somebody to get a touchdown on like some big play that they break, it's 100% going to be uh, Goodwin. But I'm hoping, for my sake, it is not Goodwin, and it is instead my boy Kittle. Um, Moving on to Jerry's team, it got a lot better this week with the addition of Melvin Gordon. Yes, he does not have you know, his handcuff and Eckler, but you might not need it, and hopefully you don't over the next few weeks, as hopefully Gordon comes back to full strength. Pairing that with the resurgent Lamar Miller, the Drew Brees, who's fallen off as of late, but hopefully can rebound on that. You have Devontae Adams, got a lot of good stuff going on. Your issue is, you know, once you get past that, um, your flex is probably going to be Leonard Fournette for the rest of the season, unless it's supposed to be a game where they're supposed to lose really bad. Maybe then you put in Yeldon for the PPR. Not entirely sure how you want to handle that. And in your wide receiver 2 spot, that's going to be a bit of a mess. Um, what do you? I I'm very confused um, as to what's going on in my house downstairs. But anyways, yes, we have a lot of good stuff on Jerry's team, and I think maybe after this week, if he gets those numbers up, then he'll be able to turn around and hopefully not catch me, but I think he might end up getting the better team in the end if these people hold as to what their value is at the moment. For A-Class, it's Movember. Hey, make sure that you know, your genitals aren't getting cancer and your prostate's not getting cancer, because that's not good. Don't do that. Movember. Number 6, we have Doug. Doug is here just barely holding on because I just like the potential of a lot of the players he has. He's got, OBJ, Sony Michelle, Cooks and Allen and DT. I think what he should do before this weekend is trade away one of those wide receivers for another running back because, if Michelle's out for an extended period of time, hopefully he'll be back. But if he is out, then you're starting Chris Carson, where you could definitely put in some, some much better people. So I'd like to see that from Doug. And but other than that, he's got a fine team. He's doing good stuff, making decent trades. So hopefully continue to make trades. And with me, Doug, please come on. You're my bro. Help me out. It's Brovember after all. Speaking of bros, it is Matt S., the younger of the S brothers, at number 5, and he is in a tie for 5th for the last 3 weeks. And I really like his team. He is the first of the teams I look and I'm like, man, you are one player away from having a dope team. And for you, that is the tight end. I just can't get behind Vance McDonald. Um, if you can go out and you can grab somebody like you know, I have Kittle, but like somebody in Kittle's range. Um, I think that could definitely help you out a ton. Like that could definitely propel your team forward. And I don't know, I just really like your team. And with some of the pickups you made too, and with some of the players that you have on your team getting better, like Fitzgerald with the coaching change, you have Marvin Jones with the trade. Um, I mean, I think you're just gonna have a really solid team going into the rest of the season, and hopefully, hopefully you can keep up the good work. So I really struggled with this tier because I kind of want to put Doug down a tier and I kind of want to put Matt up a tier, but at the same time I really couldn't justify doing either. So here they sit at A, and then finally we have the S class, which is Fovember, which is the fantasy football November because it is the 9 weeks 9 through 12 fall in November, and it is really important to do well and finish strong to make it into that playoff run. So that is that. Next up, we have Matt M at number 4. Matt is just he's the first of the teams that I'm like, man, you have a really solid team, and it shows in his number 1, tied for number 1 through a tie actually. Everybody but Nick in this tier, I believe, or is it Mike? One of them in this tier don't have 154 points over the last 3. It's a 3-way tie with the with myself, Matt M, and somebody else. But these teams are all just absolutely great. He's gonna get, you know, in trouble this week, but he's playing against Malcolm, so it should work itself out. Um, but yeah, he just has a really solid team, top to bottom. You know, he did make the reason he's at 4, down from 3 from last week, is because I didn't like the trade that was made for him. Not the Golden Tate trade, but the trade he made picking up Dalvin Cook and a couple other pieces for Gordon. But if Gordon ends up being out for an extended period of time, then it was a brilliant move on his part to just trade away the guy who's injured and might be out for any period of time. Uh, so yeah, I like his team. I like what he's got going on at basically every single position. I mean, after this week, of course, when he can put in Tyler Boyd and Golden Tate back into those wide receiver spots, and his flex he can fill in with, somebody else who is playing really well on his team because he's got a bunch of talent, and he can just throw Ertz back into that tight end. It's gonna be a good time, and I think my dog just did something very bold, and yeah, here she is. Hi, Lily. You want to be on the podcast or the Twitch stream? Hi, I have Lily. I'm gonna hold on to her and give her some pets while I do the rest of the video. You want to say hi to everybody, or do you not know how to? We haven't ever taught you speak as a command, so you're just gonna have to hang out with me. You thought you were all by yourself in the house, didn't you? You heck, so you were gonna go exploring. And guess what? You got caught. You got caught, kid. Um, so moving on up to number three, we have Nick. So it is Mike who is not tied for first. He's the worst of these top couple people. No, no, no. You can't go exploring. I don't know. I don't know what you're gonna get yourself into. You have to hang out with me for a couple more minutes, and I'll be done. Um, so for Nick, I mean, again, solid team top to bottom. Uh, he just needs, he can probably do a little better at a couple spots, like his wide receiver two slash flex. I mean, he's got Watkins for that, but then Funches is somebody I'm not a huge fan of with the emergence of DJ Moore. But for this week, Funches is great because Tampa Bay can't defend a high school football team, let alone an NFL team. So that is Nick at number three. I'm at number two. If you want to hear how much I love my team, send me a trade offer and I'll tell you why it's wrong because my team is so much better than your team. And at number one, we have Mike. He continues to sit there because he put up an absolutely bonkers game last week. His team is absolutely great, top to bottom. I mean, you look at his team, his starters for this week, they're absolutely fantastic. And then you see that he has, Landon Collins on his bench, Joe Mixon on the bench. Um, so yeah, he's gonna be the guy to beat moving forward. Still, I think until either A, somebody gets injured, B, somebody falls off, or C, somebody else can make some moves to get a team that's as stacked as this one. So that'll be it for me for this week. Sorry guys, I have a dog who decided to come say hi. So for now, this has been this week, Horsehead Weekly or whatever it's called, and I will see you guys next week. Bye bye.